Good evening and welcome to our Good evening and welcome to our platforms, nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at NRP Media JA. It's Tuesday, January 9, 2024. I am Lou Ann Bramwell Shakes, and we have Gafar Ellis with the NRP Evening News Roundup. Here are the headlines. 5 persons have been taken into police custody and an assault rifle seized following a joint police-military operation. Jamaica Constabulary Force is reporting the continued success of its intelligence-led operations and police presence in 2024. Jamaica's courts continue to make progress in clearing case backlogs, says Chief Justice. And in sport, Ireland's men's team will return to test action next month when they face Afghanistan in Abu Dhabi. The news today is brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Celebrating 3 years since our inception, the NRP brand of radio and other social media platforms on NRP Media JA is your newest online platform accessible for the promotion of your church and community activities along with news and sports related information. It's the platform you have been longing for. So call us today at 876-336-9928 or email us at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com.
NRP Media and Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
And now the news. 5 persons have been taken into police custody and an assault rifle seized following a joint police-military cordon and search operation in the Battersea New Green area of Manchester this morning. Reports are that at around 4:30 a.m., the team conducted a cordon and search operation, and during the operation, an AR-15, along with a quantity of 5.56 rounds, were seized during a search. The 5 persons who were in the vicinity of the premises were subsequently taken into custody and are being questioned in connection with the find. The names of those in custody are being withheld pending further investigations. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Constabulary Force is reporting the continued success of its intelligence-led operations and police presence in 2024. The JCF says up to yesterday, it had seized 18 firearms, including 3 rifles. Almost half of the 18 were seized in Police Area 3, with St. Elizabeth and Clarendon together, accounting for 8 illegal weapons now off the streets. The corporate area divisions of St. Andrew North and St. Andrew Central account for another 6 of the seizures, while the streets of St. James are now safer following the seizure of 4 guns. 10 persons have been taken into custody in connection with these seizures. The police say they continue to urge persons with information that can lead to the seizure of illegal guns and the arrest of gunmen and gangsters to call Crime Stop at 311, the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, tip line at 811, the police at 119 number, or the nearest police station. The opposition is highlighting the growing concerns over what it says has been the persistent decline in cruise arrivals. It has also appealed to the Minister of Tourism, Edmund Bartlett, to address what they claim is an alarming trend with immediate and transparent action. Senator Janice Allen, The PNP Shadow Minister of Tourism says it is imperative to scrutinize both stopover and cruise visitors statistics.
Tourism visitor stopover arrivals have shown consistent year-on-year improvements, rebounding from the pandemic with the expansion of room stock. However, the cruise sector paints a contrasting picture. Over the past 6 years, cruise arrivals have declined and have failed to regain pre-pandemic performance levels. The indications from the industry are that the projections for 2024 are bleak, and the minister's public disclosure of information is imperative to guide businesses and livelihoods dependent on the industry.
Senator Janice Allen, the PNP Shadow Minister of Tourism. She said there's an urgent call that the minister must heed, along with all relevant agencies that are within his portfolio. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has declared that 2024 will be a year of peace, productivity, and prosperity for Jamaica. He said that the new year comes with a lot of opportunities, and by bonding and working together, the country can begin to see some of what has always been possible. Delivering the keynote address at the announcement ceremony for National Baking Company Limited's new 6.7 billion bread plant at the Hilton Hotel and Spa in Rose Hall, St. James, yesterday, the Prime Minister remarked that he genuinely believes that 2024 will be the country's breakthrough year. He also congratulated the Hendrickson family and patriarch Carl Hendrickson on the investment and the company's contribution in enhancing Jamaica's productivity. Jamaica's courts continue to make progress in clearing case backlogs, says Chief Justice Honorable Brian Sykes. He said that in the Court of Appeal, for every 100 cases that come in, approximately 111 cases are disposed of. Mr. Sykes said, according to the statisticians, if you maintain that for about 3 years, then that becomes the new baseline from which the courts can push on for greater efficiency. Mr. Sykes, who was addressing Monday's swearing-in ceremony for the appointment of some 12 judges to higher office, noted that 2023 was a reasonable year for the judiciary, with parish courts confirming their backlog-free status. He, however, says despite the gains, there is still room for improvement, as ultimately persons want their matters disposed of in the shortest possible time. Mr. Sykes said the data indicate that the parish court sits an average 3 hours out of a maximum of 5 hours per day, which means that there are 2 hours that are unutilized and cases can be brought forward to fill that gap. And the Chief Justice says International Organization of Standardization, ISO, certification is being pursued for some processes within the courts so that the system continues to hold itself to international standards. Mr. Sykes said that once this is obtained by the end of 2024, the country should see improved service delivery from all our courts. And finally, the National Housing Trust, NHT, is once again urging its contributors to be extra vigilant of phishing attacks. This following reports of fraudulent emails claiming to be coming from the entity. Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs at the NHT, Dwayne Burbick, says the fictitious communication instructs recipients to verify their information by clicking on a link or attachment in order to receive their NHG contributions refunded. However, he reminded that email verification is not a method used by the trust in the refund process. Thus, customers should exercise care when these mails are received. Mr. Burbick says the trust has been notified of multiple cases of falsified communication having been reported to the NHD since January 1, 2024, when the organization began accepting refund applications for contributions made in 2016. Mr. Burbick said that this trend is not new and is urging contributors to protect their personal information so that it does not fall into the wrong hands and to guard against becoming victims of other cyber crimes. You are listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. And now let's give you some sporting information brought to you by Hepburn's Glass, located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston. And now for our sports stories on cricket news. Ireland's men's team will return to test action next month when they face Afghanistan in Abu Dhabi. The 5-day red ball match will kick off a 7-game multi-format series between the sides, which will include 3 one-day internationals and 3 T20 internationals. It will be the second time the sides have met in a test, with Afghanistan winning by 7 wickets in 2019. The test match will begin in Abu Dhabi on February 28. Both sides will use the white ball matches, particularly the 3 T20s, as preparation for the ICC T20 World Cup in June. Ireland were last in action in December when they beat Zimbabwe by 7 wickets to secure a 2-0 ODI series victory in Harare. After the test against Afghanistan, the 3 ODI matches will take place in Sharjah on March 7, 9, and 12, with the T20 games being played at the same venue on March 15, 17, and 18. Finally, on football, Bayern Munich are to light up their Alliance Arena stadium in honor of Franz Beckenbauer. The German legend, who was nicknamed Der Kaiser, passed away aged 78 on Sunday. Beckenbauer won 4 league titles with Bayern and was captain when the German Giants won the European Cup in 1974, 1975, and 1976. In a statement, Bayern said, quote, "Thank you for everything, Franz Beckenbauer," unquote. In memory of the Kaiser, the Alliance Arena will light up with words, "Thank you, France," in the evening hours of 6:30 to 22 hours CET over the coming days. That's sports in our NRP Evening News Roundup, brought to you by Hepburn's Glass, located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmedia@gmail.com or call 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sport. Stand by now for the latest international news, courtesy of the Voice of America.
This is VOA News. I'm Joe Ramsey. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has called on Israel to stop undercutting Palestinians' ability to govern themselves. VOA's Rick Pantaleo has more.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken Tuesday called on Israel to take greater steps to protect civilians, allow more aid into Gaza, and work with moderate Palestinian leaders. After a meeting with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, Blinken says the plight of those killed and kidnapped on October 7th is foremost in mind during his visit.
We'll have an opportunity to sit with the families of some of the hostages and discuss our relentless efforts to bring everyone home and back with their families.
Blinken on Monday said that Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey have agreed to begin planning for the reconstruction and governance of Gaza once Israel's war against Hamas ends. Rick Pantaleo, VOA News.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Tuesday the United States believes the daily toll of war on civilians in Gaza is far too high.
We know that facing an enemy that embeds itself among civilians, who hides in and fires from schools, from hospitals, makes this incredibly challenging. But the daily toll on civilians in Gaza, particularly on children, is far too high.
Blinken made the comment at a press conference after talks in Tel Aviv with Israeli leaders. Police entered Poland's presidential palace to detain two of their former bosses on Tuesday, executing a court order to take the ex-interior minister and his deputy to prison and escalate a dispute between the head of state and the new government. Prime Minister Donald Tusk had earlier accused President Andrzej Duda of obstructing justice after the two lawmakers appeared at the palace. This is VOA News.
That was the latest international news from the VOA. Now for the weather report and forecast with Gaffer Ellis.
I am Gafar Ellis with your weather report. A ridge and low-level jet stream is across Jamaica. Both the ridge and low-level jet stream are expected to remain across the island for the next few days. Expect windy conditions to continue, especially across southern parishes as a result. Our 24-hour forecast today will be partly cloudy in the afternoon, across hilly areas. Otherwise, mostly sunny for the rest of the day. It will be windy tonight, so it will become partly cloudy, and it will also be windy along the south coast. The 3-day forecast starting tomorrow, Wednesday, where we'll have isolated showers across the eastern parishes and hilly areas. Otherwise, it will be partly cloudy and windy along the coastal areas. Thursday, partly cloudy with windy along the coastal areas. On Friday, it will be partly cloudy in the afternoon across the hilly areas. Otherwise, mostly sunny and windy across the southern parishes. Other current regional weather features: a cloud front across the western Gulf of Mexico and a stationary front across the Bahamas. That is the latest weather report and forecast for the NPR Evening News Roundup.
Thank you, Gafar. With that, we have come to the end of our news presentation this evening. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. 5 persons have been taken into police custody and an assault rifle seized following a joint police-military operation. Jamaica Constabulary Force is reporting the continued success of its intelligence-led operations and police presence in 2024. Jamaica's courts continue to make progress in clearing case backlogs, says Chief Justice Brian Sykes. And in sports, Ireland's men's team will return to test action next month when they face Afghanistan in Abu Dhabi. The full package of news today came to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Celebrating 3 years since our inception, the NRP brand of radio and other social media platforms on NRP Media JA is your newest online platform accessible for the promotion of your church and community activities along with news and sports related information. It's the platform you have been longing for. So, call us today at 876-336-9928 or email us at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com.
NRP Media and Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Here is your invitation to join us again tomorrow morning at 6:30 for the NRP Break of Day newscast. Remember, too, we invite your feedback to this newscast via WhatsApp at 876-336-9928 or on any of the platforms that you're listening. We invite you to also subscribe to our YouTube channel at NRP Media JA and click on the notification bell. The same applies to our Facebook pages at NRP Media JA and under the name Leon Nash. That's Leaon Nash. Our radio platform at nrpmediaja.com is always operating 24/7, 365 days per year for your listening pleasure. Join this growing medium. Feel fulfilled and informed. I am Lou Ann Bramwell Shakes, and we have Gafar Ellis for the NRP Evening News. Have a good rest of your evening. Drive with other road users in mind and for your own family, for your own and your family's sake. Please stay safe.